I've had a great week flying this week, and I hope you did too. Whether you were chair flying, hitting a simulator, or watching the boys over at the JR Aviation channel for hours absolutely counts. Tell them I sent you. And let's continue. I did the typical Tybee Island run, got some gas, tested the new altitude hold sensor on my autopilot, and dedicated a landing to one of my heroes.
Sandy check, gear is down, flaps indicating down, switch is coming to the off position. That airplane's already up. This one's for Ben Weeks.
If you somehow missed it, and I don't say this often out loud because I will never beg for your love the way a dachshund would after you get home from work, consider subscribing to the channel. Notifications help too because you don't want to be left out of the conversation at the airport when your friends talk about how we're sparking peaceful protests to provide economic opportunity to my city and yours. You'd be joining this family, and it would make it easier to go back in the archives to see several videos on how we got this airplane flying again after many years sitting idle. And if you still haven't done that because free will is important and the dog breed analogy went way over your head, let me recap. In 2018, I started a nonprofit flying club in Savannah, and I met our hangar neighbor. In 2023, we reconnected again, and I bought his Piper Arrow 2. And I got it flying after almost 6 years sitting outside in the Savannah weather. And if you've never been down here, the Savannah weather is rainforest levels of humidity, abundant sunshine, hurricanes, 100-degree temperatures for much of the year, and the occasional, and by occasional I mean every 20 years, 2 inches of snow. We unfortunately lost the previous owner of the Arrow a few months after I bought the airplane. And then after that, his family thought it was fitting to allow me to rehabilitate his much beloved 1998 Diamond DA20, so I bought that airplane too. Sounds great, right? This one also hadn't flown in many years, possibly longer than the Arrow, and the cylinders were trashed, the IO240B engine was leaky, and I just had to overhaul the engine. A word to the wise, a cheap airplane is never really cheap. You've been warned. Other than that, it was a low-time, well-maintained airplane with lots of potential. We connected with twin aircraft engines in Noonan, Georgia, and got an engine and accessory overhaul done across the span of a few short months and several tens of thousands of dollars. We added a Garmin suite of avionics and did a 3-month-long annual inspection to include tap tests and bore scoping of areas of the airframe that you couldn't otherwise get human eyes on. And oh yeah, I've been saying we a lot. You know I don't touch airplanes without the guidance of maintenance professionals, or A&Ps as we call them in America. I think my maintenance professionals are really special though because they have British accents and cool cars. You know what day it is. Well, actually you probably don't know what day it is, and let's keep it that way until you see this. It's been a year. A little bit over a year since we've been working on this airplane. Engine overhaul, avionics, annual, minor squawks at the pre-buy. But finally we're at the point where we can get this airplane to an owner who is just as excited to have it as I am. It's not going to a mega flight school or something like that. It's actually going to an aviator who's working on his private pilot's license and is, just the kind of person that's going to take this airplane and do something special with it. It's a beautiful day outside. I think we're going to have some turbulence up high, but that's the name of the game. Severe weather predicted in this area and across most of the United States in the next week or so. So we're going to get it out today, 4 hours up to the Nashville area, and have a little fun, celebrate a little bit, but turn around and come right back so we can get back to our families, our lives, and some pretty exciting projects that getting ready to expose to you on the channel. So stick around. I think I'm just feeling a lot of emotions right now. I'm exhausted, of course, working on this thing, but I'm financially exhausted as well. But we're close, and in the next 4.5 hours, we will put this project to rest at a happy new home. All of that leads us to this moment. One fuel stop for the Diamond turned into two because Pickens County's fuel pump was out of service, and this is what the wind conditions were like. Here we see a Cub struggling to bring it on in. We probably at this point had a 13 knot crosswind at this particular airport that would only get worse throughout the day. Simon was able to carry on with his fuel mission, and I caught up with him just a little bit later.
Okay, we are being absolutely rocked up here at 6,500 just north of Chattanooga. This whole flight's been this way since we left Savannah. It was smooth up until about Statesboro, but now we are being tossed around.
Did you slow it down? I see you're at 95 knots now.
Yeah, that's Simon. Yeah, I'm slowed down quite a bit just because of the bumps and try to not outpace you too much. Yeah, so we're experiencing the same thing. He's about 6 miles to the northeast of me. Won't be able to see him just yet, but just wanted to let you know this is not comfortable. And sometimes you're flying small airplanes, and that's just the name of the game. It's not always a smooth ride, but this is probably the worst I've ever experienced in a small airplane for this long. Just really consistent, light chop, and areas of moderate turbulence. So we'll catch you later. I know it's rough, but the view out the front of this airplane is just incredible. It's absolutely gorgeous. See the mountain line right there that we're crossing over? Beautiful. But we are still rocking and rolling.
Okay, winds have picked back up again now to 28.
How's the ride though? Is it smoother?
Nah, it's got worse.
Oh man. Okay, here's the before descent discussion. It's smoothed out. I'm looking at Nashville out the window off to my right side. I see Nashville, Nashville's airport, Nashville International. Yeah, it's smooth for the first time in like 2 hours.
Lima, turn 10 degrees right.
Ready to be on the ground for a little bit, stretch my legs, turn around, head back to Savannah, and leave an airplane behind, which is the whole point of this trip.
So 1373, fly heading 300.
Sean, I hope you enjoy the airplane, and hope one of these days you'll be able to fly it down to Savannah so I can take a look at how you've been progressing with your flight training.
And Tower, there's a big bird on the approach end of 2. I just had to swerve around.
Roger.
We're here. Well, officially again.
Great to meet you.
Good to see you, man. Yeah. There she is, November 113 Charlie Lima.
You're pretty.
And unlike other aircraft, you're going to start it with the prime on. So you're going to put the mixture full rich, throttle forward for about 3 seconds to get the fuel in. I find it needs more like 10.
Yeah.
And then you get it started, which is unusual. With this being an injected engine, it starts great when it's hot, but it took longer to start when it's cold, which is normally like...
It's the opposite, right?
The opposite way around.
Yeah, my airplane, starts perfectly the first time, and then the hot starts are horrible. But this thing fires right up when it's hot.
Yeah, when it's hot, it fires straight up.
So we did it, and yeah, you've been a part of this mission this entire time. So I decided to wear my little camera and take you along for Nashville Hot Chicken, which is what any self-respecting man would do on a little layover here at John Toon Airport. I've always heard about Nashville Hot Chicken. I've always wanted Nashville Hot Chicken. I've had it imitated in several different places before, but this was supposed to be an authentic experience, and it was worth every minute of the ride, except the turbulence part, but this was absolutely worth it. Well, the deal is done. That was it. We got up here, we did what we needed to do. All that was left was to turn around and head back to Savannah. 9,500 feet, 210 knots over the ground the entire way, doing about 12.5 gallons per hour. This is how you travel in a Bonanza. And now that we're back, here's the reality. Just kidding, we've got other airplanes that we need to park in hangars, and at this airport, if you don't use it, you lose it. Thank a farmer today, go read a book, and we'll see you again next time.